Okay, let's jump right in. We've got a fresh batch of official announcements coming straight out of Japan. Really seems tailor-made for overseas anime fans like you.
Yeah, definitely. We've looked through, press releases covering new figures, some streaming events, and also some pretty fascinating updates from the world of virtual artists.
That's right. It can feel like a bit of a fire hose sometimes, can't it? News breaking constantly.
Exactly. So our goal for this deep dive is really to cut through all that noise. We want to bring you the updates that are genuinely significant.
The ones that really offer insights into what's happening, in the industry and things that directly impact your interests.
Precisely. Whether you're a collector or, someone who mainly watches the shows, or even if you're into the music side of things.
Absolutely. So think of this as, well, your shortcut to being really well informed on these specific developments. We're going to unpack them.
Understand the context, figure out what they actually mean for you on a practical level.
And highlight those key details you probably need to know right now. It's a deep dive into the latest pulse of Japanese pop culture, filtered just for you.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's get started by looking at something many of us enjoy adding to our physical space, collectible figures.
Ah, yes. The tangible connection.
Exactly. These announcements, they often give us that concrete link to the characters and worlds we love.
Indeed. And the two figure announcements we're pulling from the sources today, they're both coming via AmiAmi, the big retailer.
Right.
And they offer a really interesting contrast, actually. A different series, different types of characters, different figure lines even.
Okay, interesting. So what's first?
First up, we have a new Nendoroid announcement. This one taps into a real classic, but one that's seen a modern revival.
Oh, which one?
Cardcaptor Sakura. Clear card arc.
Okay. A definite classic.
And the news is specifically about a Nendoroid figure for Daidouji Tomoyo.
Tomoyo, of course. Sakura's best friend, right, ever-present videographer.
Couldn't have put it better myself. Incredibly loyal, always has that camera ready.
Right.
To film every single magical girl moment.
Got to capture the memories and the outfits.
Absolutely. And this particular Nendoroid is the Tomoeda Junior High School uniform Ver.
Okay, so that ties it specifically to the Clear Card Arc storyline setting.
Exactly. Connects it right to the more recent anime series. And this Nendoroid, it's produced by Good Smile Company.
The creators of the Nendoroid line itself. Makes sense.
Right. And pre-orders are open now through AmiAmi. That's both their big online shop and also their physical stores in Tokyo.
Akihabara and Ikebukuro, yeah. The usual spots.
So looking at the core specs from the source material, the reference price is $6,800, including tax.
Okay. That sounds pretty standard for an Nendoroid these days, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Pretty much par for the course. The scheduled release date, though, that's a bit further out. Slated for November 2025.
November 2025. Wow. Okay. That's like over a year away.
Yeah, it gives you plenty of time to budget and, prepare your shelf space if this is one you really want.
Definitely. And size-wise, standard Nendo.
Yep, typical Nendoroid height. Approximately 100 millimeter tall, so about 4 inches. And it's non-scale, of course.
Right, not a specific ratio, just designed for that cute, chibi Nendoroid look. Materials plastic, I assume?
Standard plastic, yeah. The basic set includes the figure body itself and a dedicated base.
Which you almost always need for Nendoroids, right? With those big heads.
Absolutely. They're designed that way, so stability requires the base. The source confirms that here, too.
Okay. But the real fun with Nendoroids is the extra bits, isn't it? The faces, the accessories.
That's where they really shine. Yeah. And the source lists 3 expression parts for Tomoyo, and honestly, they are perfect.
Oh yeah, what do we got?
You get a standard smiling face, which is nice, a laughing face, always good, and, this is the one, the Sakura-chan is super cute face.
Oh my gosh, yes. The starry-eyed adoration look. That's so Tomoyo.
Isn't it just? Including that specific expression, it really shows that Good Smile gets her character. They know what fans love about Tomoyo.
Totally. It's that kind of attention to character-specific detail that collectors really, really appreciate. Makes it feel special.
Couldn't agree more. And the optional parts list. It includes her essential tools.
Let me guess. Video camera.
Number 1, a must-have. Plus her school bag, a smartphone, and then there's the tantalizing other undisclosed parts.
Ooh, intriguing. But yeah, the camera's non-negotiable for Tomoyo. You just can't have her without it.
Absolutely essential. The source also throws in the usual disclaimer, images are prototypes, final product might vary slightly.
Standard procedure for figures, yeah. Good to keep in mind, though.
So thinking about the so what for you, the listener, especially if you're a fan of Cardcaptor Sakura, specifically the Clear Card arc.
This Tomoyo Nendoroid is a pretty significant release, wouldn't you say? Highly anticipated.
I'd say so. She's such a beloved supporting character. Getting her in that classic Tomoeda junior high uniform is a great choice.
And those expressions and accessories, especially the camera and that amazing Sakura-chan, his super cute face, they just nail her personality.
They really do. And for Nendoroid collectors in general, it's a solid, character-appropriate addition. Fills a niche for a key character, maybe in a version they haven't had before.
And it shows there's still strong interest in revisiting these classic series with new merchandise, right?
Definitely. The nostalgia factor combined with new iterations keeps these lines fresh.
Okay, solid start. Now, you mentioned a contrast.
Right. Let's pivot dramatically from the bright, charming world of Cardcaptor Sakura and school uniforms.
Uh-oh, where are we going?
We are heading straight into the grim, dark fantasy realm of Berserk.
Whoa. Okay, yeah. Complete tonal shift, absolutely.
The second figure announcement we're looking at, also up for pre-order via AmiAmi, is for a figure from Berserk.
And which character are we talking about? Guts? Griffith?
Neither, actually. It's the incredibly cool, enigmatic and imposing Skull Knight.
Oh, Skull Knight. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Dripping with mystery, plays such a pivotal role throughout the saga, always showing up at just the right or wrong moment.
Exactly. He's a huge fan favorite, partly because of that mystery and his, well, powerful interventions. Now, this figure is part of a specific line from Good Smile Company, but it's not a Nendoroid.
Right. What line is it then?
It's a Poppy UP Parade L-size figure.
Ah, Poppy UP Parade. I know those. Generally more accessible, fixed-pose figures, good quality for the price. But L-size, that's newer, isn't it?
It is. It's an expansion of the line. They're aiming, as the source puts it, for a new level of Shigeki-like excitement or stimulation for figure fans.
Just by being bigger.
Primarily, yes. They're significantly larger than the standard Poppy P Parade figures.
Interesting. And who's making this one? Still Good Smile.
Well, it's under the Good Smile Company umbrella, but this specific Skull Knight is manufactured by Max Factory.
Oh, Max Factory. Okay, they're another highly reputable company, known for really quality sculpts.
Exactly. They're part of that broader Good Smile ecosystem, so you see these kinds of collaborations sometimes.
Gotcha. So let's get into the details for Skull Knight. Price. Release date.
The reference price is $800, including tax.
Okay, so noticeably higher than the Tomoyo Nendoroid, but maybe expected for a larger figure from Max Factory.
Seems reasonable, yeah. Especially compared to some, high-end Berserk statues, which can cost a fortune. This is still relatively accessible for the size.
And the release date. Also late 2025.
Right after Tomoyo, actually. Scheduled for December 2025.
December 2025. Okay, more long-term planning needed for collectors. And the size. How big is L size?
This is where it gets interesting. Approximately 220 millimeters tall, also non-scale.
220 millimeters? That's what, nearly 9 inches? Over double the height of the Nendoroid?
Exactly. It puts it more in line with what you might think of as a 18th or maybe even a 17th scale figure, traditionally speaking, though it keeps that Pop UT Parade non-scale label.
Okay. Material still plastic.
Still plastic, yes. Set contents are the figure body and a dedicated base, which it will definitely need.
Right. And we know the sculptor and colorist.
We do. Sculptor is Yuasa Hiroshi from Max Factory, and the colorist is Muranuchi Asuka, names that dedicated figure collectors might recognize, often linked to quality work.
Good to know. Now, you mentioned Max Factory, known for quality.
Yeah.
Are there any special features on this one? Poppy UP Parade is usually pretty straightforward.
Usually, yes. But this L size seems to allow for a bit more, and the Skull Knight figure has some really cool special features highlighted in the source.
Ooh, do tell.
The most striking one, his iconic cape. It's made of actual cloth, and it has an internal wire.
Get out. A wired cloth cape on a Pop UP Parade.
Yeah. It allows you to pose the cape dynamically. The source says you can freely express its shape.
Wow. That's a huge plus for Skull Knight. His silhouette is so defined by that dramatic flowing cloak.
Exactly. Having a wired cloth cape allows for so much more expression and display compared to just a fixed plastic sculpt. It really elevates it.
That definitely adds to that Shigeki or excitement they mentioned. Anything else?
One more cool thing, it adds to his whole ominous presence. There's an optional light-up gimmick for his eyes.
Seriously. Glowing eyes.
Yep. The figure comes with eye parts designed for it. You do need to buy the little LED light unit separately, though.
Oh, okay. Oh, man.
It's called a Miraido 316, made by a company called Hiromi Sanyo. But the potential for those glowing red eyes in the dark, fantastic for display.
Yeah, that fits Skull Knight perfectly. requiring a separate purchase for lights is pretty common, isn't it?
Very common, yeah. But usually a small extra step for a pretty significant visual boost.
Okay. And like the Nendoroid, images are prototypes available via AmiAmi online and physical stores.
Correct on all counts. And the source even includes that classic, slightly cryptic Skull Knight quote.
Which one?
That one is an enemy to those non-human beings, let's just say that.
Chills. Perfectly captures his whole mysterious mission.
It really does.
So, the so what here? For Berserk fans, this Pop-UP Parade L Skull Knight seems like a pretty major deal, right?
I think so. It's a major, relatively accessible figure of a hugely popular, iconic character. The L size gives it more presence than a standard Pop-UP parade.
While keeping the price somewhat reasonable compared to, say, high-end resin statues.
Exactly. And those features the articulated cloth cloak, the optional light-up eyes, they're genuine standouts. They offer fantastic display potential and really capture the character.
It's also interesting, isn't it, seeing these two announcements side by side. A cute Nendoroid for Cardcaptor Sakura, and this larger, darker piece for Berserk.
It really highlights the range, both long-running, beloved series, but appealing to different aesthetics and collector types. It shows the market supports both chibi-style figures and larger, more imposing display pieces.
And that there's continued demand across different figure lines and price points for these major franchises. Shows the health of the figure market, I guess.
Definitely. Enduring appeal translates into diverse merchandise.
All right, that covers the physical collectibles. Let's shift gears entirely now, moving from owning things to watching things.
Okay. From the display shelf to the streaming platform.
We have some pretty significant news about a very, very popular recent anime series and a special event tied to its continued success.
Let me guess. Are we talking about Frieren? Beyond Journey's End.
You got it. Which, let's be honest, was an absolute phenomenon over the last year or so.
Easily one of the most acclaimed, most talked about, most popular anime series recently. It really resonated, didn't it?
It absolutely did, with audiences globally. So the announcement from the sources is that the Japanese streaming service, ABEMA.
ABEMA. The new future television platform in Japan. Big player domestically.
Right. They're hosting a special, free, full-series broadcast of the Frieren anime.
Free marathon. That's pretty cool. But the source is clear. This is only on ABEMA, right?
That's a really important detail, yes.
Yeah.
Especially for our overseas listeners who are probably watching Frieren on platforms like Crunchyroll.
Right. So this specific free event is primarily aimed at the Japanese audience using ABEMA.
Exactly. The broadcast dates and times are actually coming up very soon. It starts Sunday, June 15th, 2025.
Okay, and times.
Kicks off at 5:00 p.m. Japan Standard Time, runs all the way through to 6:00 a.m. JST the next day, Monday morning.
Wow, overnight.
Then it picks right back up on Monday, June 16th from 6:00 a.m. JST until 7:00 p.m. JST that evening.
So it's basically a full 28-episode marathon spread across those 2 days. That's a commitment.
It is. But crucially, the announcement also states that following this scheduled broadcast, the entire series will be available for free on demand.
Okay. For how long?
For 1 full week after the broadcast ends.
So even if you miss the live marathon timing, there's still a solid week-long window afterwards to binge the whole first season for free, provided you have access to ABEMA.
Exactly. Now let's quickly recap some context about Frieren itself, because its popularity is really key here. Based on the manga by Kanehiro Yamada and Tsukasa Abe, right?
Yep. Serialized in Weekly Shonen Sunday. And the manga itself is incredibly successful. The source mentions circulation exceeding 24 million copies.
That's huge. Just massive numbers. And the anime adaptation aired from September 2023 to March 2024 and just exploded.
Became a cultural touchstone almost immediately. The source highlights that unique premise too. It's fantasy, but set after the heroes have already won.
Right. After they've defeated the Demon King. It follows Frieren, the long-lived elf mage from that party,
on a new journey prompted by the death of the human hero, Himmel, which makes her realize how little she really understood her short-lived companions. Her new goal is to get to know humans.
It's such a different take, isn't it? Really introspective, kind of melancholic, but also hopeful.
Absolutely. And the source points to why it got so popular. That heartfelt drama, the incredibly memorable lines, those unique comedic moments that just land perfectly.
And the magic battles were visually fantastic, too.
Definitely. It was constantly trending on social media, huge talking point every week during its run.
All those things just combined to hit a real nerve with viewers. But there's big news that makes this ABEMA broadcast even more significant.
The really important part. Go on.
A second season of the TV anime has been officially confirmed.
Yes. We knew it had to be coming, but it's official now.
And not just confirmed, they gave a time frame. Scheduled to air starting January 2026.
January 2026. Okay, that's fantastic news for fans. That's the key takeaway here, really.
Absolutely, and it's a ABEMA free broadcast event. It feels like perfect timing, doesn't it? A great promotional strategy leading into Season 2.
Totally. Get everyone hyped up again, bring new viewers in, remind everyone why they loved it.
So putting it all together, what does this Frieren news mean for you, the listener? Well, if you're in Japan or can access ABEMA,
it's a fantastic limited-time chance to watch or rewatch Season 1 for free, perfectly timed before Season 2 hits early next year.
It really just underscores how big a deal Frieren still is in Japan. And for overseas fans, even if you can't watch the ABEMA stream,
the news itself is significant. It confirms the series' enduring hype, reminds you Season 2 is definitely coming in early 2026.
It shows that the domestic promotion engine is already warming up, building that anticipation. It's just a great sign of the show's continued success and importance.
Absolutely. Good news all around for Frieren fans.
All right, let's transition now to our final main announcement. This one takes us into a really fascinating and honestly rapidly evolving area of Japanese entertainment.
Okay, where are we headed?
The world of virtual artists and their increasing global reach, especially how they connect with anime and international events.
Ah, the VTuber and virtual singer space. Yeah, that's definitely an area that highlights how technology, music, pop culture are all intersecting in new ways.
Exactly. The news today focuses specifically on the virtual singer KAF.
KAF, right. AmiAmi in Japanese. Associated with KAMITSUBAKI Studio.
That's the one. The announcement is that KAF recently performed at Anime Festival Asia, AFA Indonesia 2025.
AFA Indonesia. Okay, that event just happened, right? Early June 2025.
Yep, June 6th to 8th at the Jakarta Convention Center.
And KFU. Her profile details in the source mention she debuted pretty young, 14, back in 2018. Known for a unique voice and artistic world.
That's right. And this performance at AFA Indonesia was actually her first time performing in Indonesia.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But not her first AFA event overall.
Correct. She performed at AFA Singapore back in 2024.
Okay, so it suggests a deliberate strategy, maybe, engaging with the major AFA events across Southeast Asia.
Seems plausible. At AFA Indonesia, she was the opening act for the live stage on Saturday, June 7th.
Opening act, big spot. How did it go? The source give any details?
It does. It sounds like it went incredibly well. The official report vividly describes the start. She opened with the song Tatuba.
Chat-tuba. Wasn't that an insert song from the movie Pompo the Cinephile?
Exactly that one. And the audience reaction sounds immediate and enthusiastic. A sea of pink pen lights lit up. Crowd stood up right away. It was like huge excitement.
Nice. Always good to hear the crowd getting into it right from the start.
And then there was a key moment highlighted during her MC segment, her talking part.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
She made a real effort to connect with the local Indonesian audience by speaking in English.
Oh, that's smart. What did she say?
The source quotes her saying, "Finally, I've come to Indonesia. I want to eat Nasi Goreng while I'm here."
Huh. That's fantastic. Simple, relatable, wanting to try the local food. That probably went over really well.
Apparently it did. The source says it filled the venue with a warm atmosphere. It shows how even those small personal touches, even from a virtual artist, can build that connection.
Totally agree. Great move. What did she perform next?
After that warm moment, her second song was Answer English Verge.
Ah, the ending theme from Black Clover. And the English version specifically.
Yep. The source points out this English version was released for her 6th anniversary, and importantly, she also performed it recently at Anime Central in Chicago.
Okay, that's a really key detail, isn't it? Performing an English version of an anime tie-in song at major international anime cons like AFA Indonesia and Anime Central in the US.
It points pretty clearly to a strategy, right? KAMITSUBAKI Studio focusing on expanding her presence and appeal specifically to overseas anime fans.
Definitely. Tailoring the performance for those international stages makes perfect sense. Smart programming.
And her setlist continued that theme, heavily featuring anime tie-ins, which again makes total sense for an AFA crowd.
Right. What else did she sing?
She performed Hiti Tuya,彼女は今,迷宮の中. That's the theme song for a new upcoming anime called Chuzenji-sensei Mononoke Kougiroku, etc.
Connecting directly to a new show. Good promo.
Then she sang Hituya, Himitsu no Kotoba, which was an ending theme, specifically episode 6 for Ryukyu no Sphere, also known as Rosidere.
Oh.
And then a big one, Tokyo Shandy Rendezvous.
Oh, the Urusei Yatsura ending theme. The Masons one she featured on with Demiki. That track was huge online.
Exactly. Guaranteed crowd pleaser for an anime-savvy audience like AFA's.
Wow.
And her final song was Itami wo.
Itami wo. Isn't that the theme song for the Kamitsubaki City Under Construction anime?
It is. And that anime is actually produced by KAMITSUBAKI Studio themselves, starting in July. So that performance was also a direct preview, tying her music to their own upcoming content.
Very integrated strategy there. Using their artists to promote their own anime project. Makes sense. How did you close the show?
With a heartfelt message, again quoted in the source. Thanks to everyone, I was able to give the best performance. I'll work hard so I can stand in front of everyone in Indonesia again. Let's definitely meet again.
Nice closing touch. The source provided the full set list too.
Yep. All 6 songs conveniently listed. Answer English ver Honeyworks feat. Oh, interesting. The source adds Honeyworks feature there. Saijasida bor, Nizon's feat, Naislin's feat. Okay, comprehensive list. So summing up this KAF performance, what are the big takeaways? I think it powerfully illustrates that increasing global reach, that deliberate international strategy for virtual artists coming out of Japan.
Performing at major overseas cons like AFA Indonesia and Anime Central seems like a very direct way to engage with those dedicated anime fans outside Japan.
Totally. And the set list, heavy on anime tie-ins, plus the effort to speak English during the MC part, that's a clear and pretty effective tactic to connect with that specific audience.
It really highlights how these virtual artists aren't just, purely online phenomena anymore. They're successfully adapting to the live event circuit.
Blurring those lines between a digital presence and a physical performance experience, even if the performer is virtual.
Exactly. But wait, there's more KFO news beyond just the live stage, right? Upcoming releases.
There is. She's definitely keeping busy on the release front. First up, there's a new remix album.
Oh, a remix album. Interesting. What's it called? When's it out?
It's titled Jiaki Guagama, scheduled for release on Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. So pretty soon, actually.
Guagama. Remix albums can be really cool, offer different takes on familiar tracks. Who's doing the remixes?
The source mentions it features remixes by a diverse group of 13 different creators. It lists quite a few names. Sunoataro, Itormanade Abaraya, Tokiwa, Takachi Muke, Saku, Pasakon Ongaku Club.
Pasakon Ongaku Club, okay.
Point 3R2, Atome, Rokuda Hoshi, Cosmo Ebusup, Toriana, and Kairioli.
Wow, 13 artists. That's a significant number and seems like a wide range. Suggests the album will probably cover a lot of stylistic ground.
Yeah, likely a broad variety of interpretations of her music, probably spanning different electronic or pop genres. The album's getting a physical package release too.
Where from?
Through the Fine Mess store, which is operated by Thinker.
Thinker. That's the parent company of KAMITSUBAKI Studio, right?
Correct. Keeping it in the family, so to speak. And tied to this remix album, there's also a unique club event announced.
A club night. Okay, tell me more.
It's called Hyperion by Thinker Feet, KAF FABLE, part of a new event series from Thinker called Hyperion by Thinker.
Okay, and it's focused on the remix album.
Exactly. What's interesting is the timing. The event is on Sunday, July 6th, 2025.
July 6th. Wait, that's before the remix album release date of July 16th.
Right. So it acts as a kind of preview party or celebration event for Guagama. It's happening in Tokyo at Space Ad Daikanyama.
Okay. Doors open 12:30 p.m., starts 1:00 p.m. Tickets are $4,500 plus a drink. General sale started June 14th. Who's performing?
The lineup listed is a collection of DJs and artists. Many are likely involved in the remix album or affiliated with the studio. Names like Kitsunari, Camelots, Shinamirin, Shibata Midori from Pasakon Ongaku Club.
Ah, Pasakon Ongaku Club again. Makes sense.
Suzu doing a DJ set, Dopamine, Higma, and Zexnum opening. It's clearly focused on the creators and the music from the remix project.
Right, designed for that club environment. Now here's the crucial question. Will Kafu herself be performing at this club event?
Good question. And the source is very specific about this. Kafu herself will not be performing at this Hyperion event.
Okay, that's a really important distinction for fans to know. It's about the remixes, the creative community, not a Kafu concert.
Exactly. And finally, the source also gives a little mention of Kyoku's next major project, her upcoming 4th album.
Oh, a full new album. When's that expected?
Titled Gue, same root name as the remix album. Slated for release in December 2025.
December 2025, okay. And this sounds like a pretty significant artistic step for her.
It does. The source highlights it's her first full album since her main composer, the well-known Kanzaki Yori, graduated from KAMITSUBAKI Studio.
Ah, that is a big deal. Kanzaki Yori wrote so many of her iconic early songs, so who's handling the music now?
It sounds like a new approach. The album will feature new songs called Kashukyuku, created through collaboration with multiple creators.
Multiple creators, curated by someone.
Yes, curated by her producer, P.I. Piper.
Yeah.
This suggests a definite shift in her creative process, moving from maybe one primary composer to a more collaborative pool.
Interesting. That could lead to a really different sound or range of styles on the album.
Could do. The album is positioned as the continuation of her juvenile story, suggesting it builds on her past work, but explores new territory through these collaborations.
Sounds intriguing. And the source mentioned KAMITSUBAKI Studio's general philosophy, too.
Briefly, yeah. Describe them as a creative label focused on finding next-gen creators, leveraging net culture, artist management, fostering collaboration, and importantly, co-creation with fans.
Trying to challenge traditional music experiences, which definitely fits with virtual artists, remix albums, multi-creator projects.
Exactly. It all seems part of their broader vision.
So wrapping up all this KFU news, she's clearly an artist on the rise with a very deliberate global strategy.
Yeah, that AFA Indonesia performance shows they're actively targeting overseas anime convention audiences. Tailored content, English MC bits.
And on the music side, she's exploring new formats like remix albums, related club events. And that upcoming fourth album signals a potentially major evolution in her sound and creative process with multiple collaborators.
So for KFU fans or just anyone interested in that virtual artist space, this is all pretty vital info, right? Dates for new music, details on her live activities overseas, insight into her artistic development.
Definitely. It paints a picture of a dynamic artist in a studio that's constantly innovating and reaching out to fans across the globe.
Okay, wow. We've covered quite a bit of ground there. New figures for Cardcaptor Sakura and Berserk.
That major free streaming event for Frieren in Japan, confirming Season 2, is on the way.
And a really deep dive into the recent international activity and upcoming music from the virtual artist KFU.
Yeah, quite a mix. So let's try and zoom out a bit, connect some dots. What do these different announcements, collectibles, streaming, virtual artists tell us about the current state of things? The Japanese anime and hobby industry landscape, especially relating to us overseas fans.
Well, one thing that seems clear is the continued and maybe even growing demand for physical collectibles and the diversity of it.
You mean like having both the cute Tomoyo Nendoroid and the imposing Skull Knight figure announced around the same time?
Exactly. It ranges from, the chibi Nendoroids for popular, maybe lighter series, to these larger, more detailed figures for dark fantasy icons.
Catering to a whole spectrum of tastes, character preferences, collection styles. Different price points, too. Small and expressive versus large and imposing.
It really shows the enduring power of these franchises, doesn't it?
Yep.
How they translate into desirable physical goods, no matter the genre or even how old the series is.
Absolutely. Then there's the streaming news. With Frieren on ABEMA, what does that signal?
To me, it highlights just how strategic these domestic streaming platforms are for big promotional pushes. A free, full-series rewatch event timed right before Season 2. That's a powerful tool.
Generates buzz, draws in new viewers maybe, gets existing fans hyped up again.
And even though that specific broadcast is geo-locked to Japan, the news of it travels globally. It sends a strong signal to overseas fans, too.
Right. It reinforces how important Frieren still is, confirms Season 2 is real and coming soon. It shows how that domestic success and promotion kind of ripple outwards.
Definitely. And finally, that KFU news. That feels maybe the most forward-looking in terms of global strategy, wouldn't you say?
I think so. Her performances at AFA Indonesia, Anime Central, using English, performing anime tie-ins. It feels like a very deliberate effort to reach overseas anime fans directly through these live events.
It's not just about selling merch or streams anymore, is it? It's about building that connection, even for a virtual artist, with fans worldwide.
Yeah, it's recognizing that the global anime audience isn't just passive. They're active, engaged, they go to conventions, they follow specific artists.
And the whole virtual artist model seems almost uniquely suited for that kind of cross-border engagement, blending the digital accessibility with these, captivating live presentations.
It really does. And her upcoming release is the remix album, the multi-creator fourth album. And they also show an industry that's not standing still artistically, exploring new ways to make music, collaborate, engage fans through different formats like club nights.
So when you put it all together, you really see this interconnected ecosystem, don't you?
Yeah. The anime and manga provide the core content that fuels demand for figures.
The popularity on streaming, both at home and abroad, drives promotions, greenlights new seasons.
And the music scene, including these innovative areas like virtual artists, leverages those anime connections and actively seeks out global fans through targeted performances and releases.
It's all part of the same vibrant, expanding world of Japanese pop culture.
Exactly. So thinking about why all these specific details matter to you, the listener.
Right. Let's bring it back if you're a figure collector.
Knowing the specific versions, the sizes, the prices, those unique features like the cloth cape or the light-up eyes, and crucially, the pre-order timing and those 2025 release dates, that's all essential info.
Helps you make informed buying decisions, tells you what's coming down the pipe, gives you time to plan, maybe save up.
And if you're a massive Frieren fan,
Even if you can't watch the ABEMA stream, just hearing about this big domestic event confirms the series' hype is still strong. And it gives you that concrete time frame, early 2026, to look forward to Season 2. Keeps the excitement going.
keeps it real. And if you follow Kafu or you're just curious about virtual artists,
Getting these updates on her international shows gives insight into her growth, her global strategy, details on the remix album, the shift in creative approach for Album 4. That's crucial for understanding her artistic journey.
lets you follow along more closely, see what her future music might sound like.
And I think, maybe more broadly, just looking at all these different announcements together, it gives you a real-time snapshot, doesn't it, of the dynamic strategies being used across different parts of the Japanese entertainment industry.
You see how they're leveraging content, technology, global platforms, all to connect with fans like you, wherever you happen to be.
It really paints a picture of a creative industry that's constantly adapting, constantly finding new ways for fans to interact with the characters, the stories, the music they love.
Couldn't have said it better. These official announcements, they might seem a bit dry sometimes with specs and dates, but they're actually really valuable windows.
Windows into the business strategies, the creative decisions, the overall health and direction of the industry that brings us all this amazing content.
Precisely. Which leads us to maybe a final thought to leave you mulling over.
Okay, let's hear it.
Consider this. We talked about the increasing visibility of Japanese artists, both human and virtual, performing live at these big international events like AFA or Anime Central. How might that increasing direct interaction with overseas fans actually influence the creation side back in Japan?
You mean like a feedback loop?
Exactly. Does seeing that direct, enthusiastic response from fans in Indonesia or Chicago or wherever, does that impact decisions about what kind of merchandise gets prioritized? Or what songs get chosen for anime openings or endings? Or maybe even what kind of new anime projects get the green light?
How much does that overseas fan reaction feed back into the core creative and business decisions being made in Japan? That's a fascinating question.
It is. How does that feedback loop actually work from your perspective as an overseas fan who engages with all this news and content?
It's definitely something to think about. Your passion, your engagement as a fan, it clearly plays some role in shaping what the industry does next. Just how much is the interesting part.